Okay, we are live and a minute or two late, and I have to grab my H2O. I forgot that, so I'll be right back. Okay, I knew it was optimistic starting at 4:30, but I got something I have to do a little later, so had to start early to get this emergency broadcast in, and so it is 4:32. Hey Google, turn on living room lights. There we go. And this is an emergency broadcast, and we've got some comments about the China ban on Bitcoin. China stepping up. They've done this many times in different ways, shapes, and forms. A few weeks back, maybe a month ago, whenever it was, they banned all Bitcoin mining. And so all the Bitcoin mining operations in China, maybe not all of them, but anyway, a lot of them had to shut down and move. And they've been in the process of relocating that computing power to various points around the globe. The hash rate dropped significantly. The Bitcoin price dropped to just below $30,000 a coin because of all of that disruption. And I think at one point, more than 40% of the hash rate was offline as far as the Bitcoin miners. So the difficulty adjustment kicked in. Bitcoin kept working without a hitch. All the processing, the uh, the processing of the transactions kept going on. The blocks kept happening in about every 10 minutes, as usual, and the slowly but surely the hash rate, the computing power kept coming back online. And I don't know what percentage of it is back online now, but it's a significant percentage is back online. And so we had that. That was the shutdown of the miners, the Bitcoin miners in China. Now, recently, we've had an announcement that basically you can't do anything with Bitcoin. I think you can still hold it, although that's not super clear, but you can't transact in it. You can't send it to somebody else. You can't trade it. You can't take money from your bank account and buy it. You just, you're pretty much, your hands are tied as far as the official position of the communist government. Of course, they want complete control over the citizenry. They want extreme capital controls. They basically want to be in a position where they need to approve anything you do with your money, with your hard-earned money. They don't want you to have financial freedom. They don't want you to have a bearer instrument that you could leave the country and take your money with you. They don't want that to be the case. They want you to have to keep the money there, and they want to be able to control what you do with your money. So they'll come out with their own digital currency, and they'll claim that it's as good or better than Bitcoin and that you should use that, and so that they can have complete oversight. So what's interesting to me is that this China ban, this big deal, which a lot of big news organizations made a big deal out of it, the New York Times, a bunch of others. Oh my God, this is going to spell the end of Bitcoin, and they're doing the right thing banning it because Bitcoin's used by terrible people, criminals, and so forth. And so, you know, kudos to China for banning Bitcoin and so on and so forth. And so, even though all of these people jumped on the bandwagon that, hey, Bitcoin's finished, Bitcoin only lost a couple $1,000s based on the story, and then it's since recovered some of that. So it was just a minor blip on the radar screen, if you will, in the overall scheme of things. So I think it's pretty funny that China took this major step, and they thought they were going to deal a death blow to Bitcoin, and it was just barely a ripple. So what you do is you get yourself one of these. You get yourself the Bitcoin signet ring, to signify that you are for freedom. Bitcoin equals freedom. Bitcoin is financial freedom, which will lead to all kinds of other forms of freedom. And so you get one of those, and the link is in the description to my Bitcoin page, and there's information on there about how you can get yourself a Bitcoin signet ring like the one I have right here, How do you get a Bitcoin signet ring? There's information. There's a link in the description of this video. This one is 18 karat yellow gold. They're available in white gold. They're available in platinum, and they are available in silver, sterling silver. So, what else? Okay, so and Brianna released a video recently. You're going to want to check it out on her Twitter and on her YouTube. It is it's funny. It's a 10 reasons not to sell your Bitcoin, and it's pretty hilarious. So you guys want to check that out. You're going to want to have a strong hand. Hold your Bitcoin. Let me see if I can put. I don't know if this is synchronized or not, but let me see here. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Okay, so here's the link I'm putting in the chat just for convenience sake for anybody that's watching the replay. There's the link that links over to my Bitcoin page and gives all the information on all of this good stuff. And I'm trying to think what else I need to show you. Oh, let me go ahead, since I did mention Brianna, let me go ahead and show you her page. And it's briefitdance.com. And she's got some new content out and a lot of cool stuff. So you want to go and follow her on social media as well. I also had another comment in the on one of the forums. Somebody commented about they're trying to make the decision what to buy, either a Tudor or a Rolex. And I said I would pass on Tudor. I'd go ahead and get the Rolex, or I'd step up to Grand Seiko. And then I shared the photo of the 002 Stunner, and they replied, step up to Grand Seiko, LOL, all this stuff, right? So clearly they don't realize that the Grand Seiko is a superior watch. Let's get a close up of this. So the Grand Seiko Stunner, and I'll tell you one thing about this Grand Seiko is I can wear it below the bone. I can wear it. Usually you wear the watch above this bone here, right? But I can wear it on the bone, or it's kind of on the bone, slightly below the bone. I can wear it there comfortably. It sits anywhere on the wrist, just totally comfortably, no bother whatsoever. Whereas if I tried to wear the Date 8 like this, it was kind of like it didn't feel right. And most other watches don't feel right when I wear it like this. But this watch is so light and kind of floats on the wrist because of the flexibility of the strap and so forth, and the fact that the strap has kind of formed to my wrist. It just feels like it's just beautiful. It just floats right there. Let's see what else. Craig, is that an LGBT shirt? This is actually red, white, and blue, and it does have some green in it. So it does have some green. It's red, white, and blue pinstripes with a green. Let me see if I give you a close up here. And I really do like the look of this shirt. I think this is it Kenneth Gordon or is it Gitman Brothers? It might be Gitman Brothers. It's one or the other. It's either Kenneth Gordon or Gitman Brothers, but I just don't remember. But there might even be a picture of it in my Flickr set of photos. And let's see. Craig, did you hear they put a warrant out for the loser boyfriend's arrest, not for murder, but for using Gabby's credit cards? Yes, I heard that. And that might be the only thing that they have some clear evidence on right now, so that they're going to use that as the way to get him arrested and then hopefully move forward with other things. But I have a theory about what happened to him. I have a theory, and I'll run it by you here in a second, and we addressed this question already. This is funny, and Brianna and I were talking about this earlier. And this is a theory here. This might be what happened. Let's say that he did actually go hiking um, in that reserve in Florida, right? That swampy, remote reserve. What's it, like 23,000 acres or something? I don't know what it is, but anyway, big area, right? Full of snakes, alligators, who knows what? Maybe even Florida panthers, wild boars, whatever, right? And so, he thinks he's a nature guy and he's all that and everything. So he's there hiking in the wilderness there, trying to figure out a good place to set up a campsite. And he gets bit by a water moccasin, right? He gets bit by a water moccasin, and that slows him down a bit. And he's bleeding from the bite. He's bleeding, and he puts a like a rag around it and all to try to stop the bleeding and try to figure out what to do. And the rag gets kind of bloody, right? And it's on his leg. And there's like about a 12-foot alligator that gets the scent of that blood. And see, this time of the year, alligators do feed aggressively because they need to have their body temperature needs to be at a certain level for them to feed. They don't feed during the winter down there in Florida because it's too cool. So from like December, January, February, March, maybe April, parts of April, you're probably okay. They're not going to swallow you whole because they can't really digest you because their body temperature is not high enough. But this time of the year, it's hot down there. It's hot as hell in September down in the swamp down there, right? So that alligator's ready to digest anything, right? So it sees this punk kid with a bloody leg and a rag wrapped around it, and it takes a few bites, and that sucker is swallowed, right? He's swallowed. He's in the belly of that 12-foot alligator, and guess what? The alligators, they digest the whole thing. They're not like some animals that digest part and then regurgitate back up some of it, right? These guys they'll digest all the bones, the cartilage, everything. There's nothing left, right? It all goes to solution, right? So if that's what happened, we may never seen hide nor hair of dirty laundry again. That's what they call them now, dirty laundry. he may be in the gut and the belly of a 12-foot alligator. And here's the thing, there's a bunch of those alligators down there, so they can't possibly search all the alligators to try to find this guy's remains. Now it'll take months, a couple of months probably, for that alligator to digest him completely. But it's not in a hurry. It'll take its time and digest him right into solution, and that'll be the way that whole thing works out. So, what do you let me know what you think? There's a couple of people watching. I don't know if this I don't know if the notifications went out on this because we've got a lean a lean number of people watching, but it's okay. Most people watch after the fact anyway. Tim's in the house and he says, I've heard he has run to Canada. Well, here's the thing. It is very possible that the parents gave him some resources to get out of Dodge. Maybe maybe he went to somewhere in South America, maybe went somewhere in Central America, maybe went to Mexico. I mean, there's a whole bunch of possibilities, right? And if he went somewhere fairly remote, for example, in Mexico, it might not be anywhere near as big a news story down there. So, just a hat and just a minimal disguise, he could probably blend in and disappear. So that's very, very likely that that they did something like that. I'm just saying the scenario, it's a possible scenario. If he went into the swamp, it's a possible scenario that he was first bit by a water moccasin, and that slowed him down a little bit and caused a little bleeding. And then maybe it's possible that that would have attracted a wild boar that would have sunk its teeth into his leg a little bit more and just kind of ripped a little bit. And maybe he had a knife with him or whatever, and he was able to take care of the wild boar or scare it off or whatever, so it didn't finish him, right? And now he's really hurting, limping with a leg all tore up. And then the 12-foot alligator says, "Hey, this is looking tasty," and that was all she wrote. So that could have been how it went down. That's probably how it went down. Actually, it was probably a 1, 2, 3 punch. It was probably the mortar moccasin, then the wild boar, then the 12-foot alligator coming in for the finish. So let me know what you think about that. Do you think that's a plausible situation? What else? We talked about the signet ring. Let me show that again. Let's do a quick time check. I want to check my tabs here. I'm going to do a quick time check and see what we've got going on here on the tabs. Oh, Bukele, who has his who says he's the dictator on his he's trolling. He's got down that he's the dictator of El Salvador. So a bunch of the news organizations have been attacking him as being a dictator and so forth. So he's trolling. He changed his actual description to dictator. But here's the thing: if he's a dictator, he's a good dictator because he's giving the citizens down there financial freedom. He's giving them a tool that they can use that his government cannot control, that no government can control. See, a thing that's unique about Bitcoin is when you use Bitcoin, when you use the network, Bitcoin has no idea who you are. It doesn't care who you are. Bitcoin doesn't care what country you're in. Bitcoin doesn't care if you speak English or not. Bitcoin doesn't care if you're a member of the LGBT community, whatever. Bitcoin doesn't even know if you're a human or not, right? You could use the network and not even be a human, right? It doesn't care. All Bitcoin cares about is, do you have the keys, the private key that allows you to give access of that Bitcoin to this other person? And that's what you're doing. People say, I'm going to send Bitcoin to you. You're not really sending Bitcoin. You're just giving another person access to that Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is sitting on the blockchain all the time. And it's just a question of who has control of that Bitcoin, right? Who does the ledger say has control of that Bitcoin and can give that control to somebody else? That's what you're doing. And as far as Bitcoin is concerned, it has no idea, no way of knowing what entity has control of that Bitcoin and is then giving it to somebody else. It doesn't care. It just is going to process the transaction, based on the rules, regardless of who's using it. So it's really totally a bearer asset. It's financial freedom. Tim in the house, Craig, have you ever been to Carlton Reserve, and what is it like? I don't think I've been to that one. That's a good question. I've not been to that one. I've been to some of the other areas around, like Manatee. I thought it's called Manatee Park, or what it's called. I've been to what's called the what do they call it? They call it the big water hole or something. Anyway, there's a water hole down there. I've got the video here on the channel. We kayaked and all through there, and I shot a nice video. And there's a whole bunch of alligators that hang out in this big, like, water hole type of thing. See, in the wintertime, the water recedes and is in certain areas, like in the Everglades, for example. A lot of the Everglades are pretty dry in the wintertime. And there are different places that are water holes, and all the alligators will be congregating in those areas where there's still water, right? And so that's the time to see a whole bunch of alligators, is in the wintertime, because they're all going to be concentrated in certain areas. During the wet season, during the summer, spring, fall, all the other times of the year, there's more rain, and so that it's all wet. It's all wetland and all that. So they're going to be very dispersed, right? So I went to an area where where they had a whole bunch of alligators, and we did a nice video, and it was fun. But I don't think I've been to the Carlton Reserve. When I'm down there, I'm mainly playing tennis and volleyball and stuff like that. I'm not going out to remote areas like that. Not often. Like I say, I've been to a couple of those places, but I'm not. Deep nature like that is like a place where there's a lot of things waiting to like do harm to you, and so I don't spend a lot of time hanging out. It's just like Australia, right? Right, Tim? Australia. Almost everything that moves down there can kill you. So I don't. I'm not going in there. Let's see what else. Okay, so we talk about Bukele. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, she went from 953,000 when we did the show the other day. Now Gabby's at 1.2 million followers. 1.2 million followers. So she's getting, now that she's deceased, she's getting a ton of followers. Hard way to get a bunch of followers. And we talked about this. We talked about the Rolex that the Golden Bear, right? That he wore. Jack Nicholas. Didn't they call him the Golden Bear? Jack Nicholas, I think so. Anyway, that's the Rolex that he wore. We talked about that. I can close that out. And we talked about the pricing. I finally got the pricing on the signet ring. And there it is. 18 karat yellow or white gold. 11.19 grams is the weight of mine. And it's $1,285. And in platinum, it's $1,375. It's 14 karat yellow or white gold is $1,050. And sterling silver is $400. And so we talked about that pricing on the signet ring. And I have to say, I've now been wearing this one nonstop for like 3 or 4 days. Whenever I got it, didn't I get it Thursday? Anyway, I think I got it Thursday. But I've been wearing it nonstop, and it is super comfortable. This was a total success as far as the design of this ring for comfort. That was my goal, was to have something that's comfortable that I can wear all the time. It's not going to bother me. I'm not a ring guy, right? So I wanted something really comfortable. So it has a flange inside. Let me see if I can pull up the photo here. Give me a second. All right, I'll show all the photos here. Just bear with me because I want to find, there's a particular photo I want to find. There. Okay, there you can kind of see it. See where it says 18K above that? There's kind of like a flange going at a 45-degree angle out from the flat part that would be resting against your finger. There's like a flange all the way around there, and that's what they do. That's called a comfort fit. And also the fact that the ring is thick enough at the small side of it there, it's thick enough to give strength, but it's thin enough to remain extremely comfortable even when you bend your finger all the way. So if I take my finger and I go like this, right? This is my wedding ring here, and it's a comfort fit also. That flex there is what the comfort that bevel that's around there makes it more comfortable. And here's my pinky ring. It's even more comfortable than the wedding ring. Let me face it at the camera. If I flex like this, I can't even feel it. It's like it's not even there, right? And if this part of the ring was bigger, was thicker, wider, I guess it would be the term, it would bind a little bit. My other one would bind a little bit, right? This one does not. It's just super, super comfortable. And that's what I told him I wanted. I wanted something that I could wear all the time that would be a conversation starter about Bitcoin, but be super comfortable on wrist. So that's what I got. And that was the goal. And my gosh, success, an absolute success on the design of this ring. There you can see a little bit of the bevel also, and you can see how it's rounded and real smooth. So you can kind of get an idea of how comfortable it is from some of these photos, I hope. But and there you can see it there on that photo again. I was just really concerned, and that was from an event I went to yesterday. I was just really concerned that this would be the type of thing that I would spend money on the ring and then not wear it. And that's a total waste, right? So you can see the bevel there. But success, I don't have to worry about it because this I absolutely can wear all the time. It doesn't bother me one bit. Sunrise Beaches. Of course, China is going to ban Bitcoin. Would you want another currency to take over your country's currency? This is exactly what Bitcoin is for, to take the power out of the government hands. That's correct. And what's interesting is game theory is going to kick in here, where the countries that crack down on Bitcoin are going to suffer because of that. Commerce and innovation and everything is going to gravitate towards the countries that embrace it. And I think that Latin America, with the head start they've got now, with El Salvador making it legal tender, and then the rumor is that other countries there in Latin America are going to follow suit, that it is going to become a hub of activity in places like, the way Singapore became a hub of financial activity in Asia, right? Some of these Central American countries are going to become a hub of innovation and so forth here in the Americas. And so I think it's going to be really cool game theory to watch this play out, to watch the countries that, don't embrace Bitcoin, to watch them pay the price. And China, I believe that it's possible that China will even become similar to North Korea. I think China might at some point become cut off to the world and just suffer a similar fate as North Korea. I think it could be devastating for them. If they continue down the path they're going with resisting Bitcoin, this is a case where, in my opinion, resistance is definitely futile. It's definitely futile. Oh, I didn't see this one from Bruiser. He says, is the Bitcoin dip a gift from the communist China? Yes, it was. And I bought some of the dip. Yes, I did. All right. Let's see. I don't know what else we're going to cover. Here's the thing. I grasped the concept of Bitcoin right away. Some people say, well, it's hard to understand and all this stuff. My buddy told me about Bitcoin in, 2011, very, very early days. And I dismissed it. I told him, I said, the government is going to shut that down. I know exactly what you're talking about doing here. You're talking about having a free and open digital currency on the internet that no government controls, that is decentralized, that's an open network. The government is not going to allow something like that to exist. They're going to crack down big time. And they didn't. They didn't do it, at least in the United States. And then it kept going along. And then it was like 2013, like a couple years later. And it was still around. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? They haven't killed this thing yet. And that's when I started buying some, and I started doing some trading and stuff. And then when I met Adam Meister, late 2013, early 2014, something like that, I stopped all the trading stuff and just started buying and holding at that point. But the only reason why I started buying it is I saw that the government was missing their opportunity to kill it, because that was what the main threat was, in my opinion. The main threat to Bitcoin was and is the government's trying to kill it, right? And now, with the United States government coming out with some, clarity about on the subject that they're basically not going to kill it. I mean, they basically said that they're not going to kill it. So, I think the thing's here to stay at this point. Now, can something weird happen that none of us have thought about? Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, it's looking like, I'll put it this way. In 2011, I gave it about a 10% chance of succeeding because I thought the government was going to kill it for sure. In 2013, it maybe went up to maybe 50% chance of succeeding. After the 2017 run up and pull back and then gradual run up again, I upped it to maybe, 80% chance of succeeding, right? I mean, now I'm giving it like 90% plus. I think it's a 10% chance or less than 10% chance that they're going to kill it now. So it's flipped totally around from 90% chance they're going to kill it to now 10% chance they're going to kill it. So, and if it gets through, if it lasts through all of 2022, I think we'll be up to like a 95% chance that it survives and a 5% chance that they can kill it at that point. Triforce Rich, 4-mile run done. Now have to walk home. Oh boy, excuse me. So that's the downside to being a runner. Is if you run, and especially if you're running like in the wilderness with like water moccasins around and stuff, if you get tired and you injure yourself, right, and you're in the middle of nowhere, that could be an issue, right? So that's why I tend to walk more than run, especially nowadays. I mean, I almost never run, because running, it's more likely you're going to pull a muscle or do something, and then you could end up stranded wherever you are if you're running in some remote area. Let's see here. The more roots in the ground, the harder to pull out the tree. Very good point. Very, very good point. Craig, if you dumped your net worth into BTC in 2011 when your friend told you about it, then what would you have now? Oh my God. I don't even want to think about it. That's too depressing. That's too depressing. Yeah. But few people, I mean, put that in perspective. Few people that had it in 2011 are still holding it. Most people have sold. There are a few OGs, right, that still have their original stash, but that is very rare. Most people, it's very hard to have a strong hand and to hold through all the ups and downs, right? Most people either sell when they think it's at the top, right? Like when it hit $30, right? They might have thought, oh my God, we're at the top, right? Okay, and they sold at $30, right? Some people might have sold when it hit $1,000, right? Oh my God, it went all the way up to $1,000. We're at the top, right? And they sold. They always think they're selling at the top. And then there are a few people that keep it, right? That don't sell. And then there are people that panic sell at the bottom. Right? It goes up to 1,000 and then it pulls all the way back to like $200 or something. And they're like, oh my God, I could have sold at 1,000. Now it's all the way down at 200. I better sell now and at least get something, it's going to go to zero. Right. And so they sell at 200 and then it goes back up again. So people that try to time the market, generally speaking, they get screwed. That's generally what happened. Bree Fit Dance is in the house. Hello, she says. We talked about you a little bit earlier, Bree, and I talked about your video that you released today. So if you want to come in and share some information about that, you're obviously welcome to do that. And if anybody else wants to come in before we wrap up, let me know. I'll put the link in the chat for people to come in. So there. And Bree says I can probably join with my new Mini. Cool. iPad Mini. That is cool. Let's see. Sunrise Beaches. Yeah, Bitcoin will go to new highs by the end of the year. That's what everybody is saying. And the only thing that makes me nervous about that is when everybody's saying something, usually it doesn't do what everybody is saying. That's the only thing that gives me pause on that. But I agree. I think a big pump is incoming. There are BVids on YouTube of people were trading Bitcoin when it was only $100. And yeah, I mean, there's tons of people that sold their Bitcoin, right? Cheap. Here's the thing. When you sell your Bitcoin, this is the thing to always do. Think about who's buying your Bitcoin and why are they buying it. If you're selling it, and that's such a great idea, why is the other guy on the other end buying it? Maybe he knows something you don't. Brief It Dances in the house. I can probably join. Okay, I already read that. Did you read Rolex statement release? Your opinion. I saw a reprint of it. I don't know if that I saw the official one, but my take is on it is they didn't really say anything. By the statement, I gather that they love it. They love what's going on with the gray market. I mean, it's helped their brand. I mean, it's made these stainless steel watches a freaking collector's item. I mean, who would have ever thought, right? Hey, it's a great watch. You buy it, you wear it, you got a good watch. But who would have ever thought it would be a collector's item that people would want to have a dozen steel watches? I mean, and I would have never thought that was ever going to happen, right? But it's happened, and Rolex is doing. They're selling every watch they can make. The ADs, I'm sure, are doing fine because they're getting full sticker probably for every watch they sell pretty much. I think that's very rare that they give a discount these days. So the only party that's getting the shaft in this whole thing is these investors that are buying, a dozen steel watches and paying way too much money for them and thinking they're going to keep going up in value forever. Right, thinking that they're a good investment. Those are the people that are going to get the shaft on this whole thing when the whole thing collapses. So Rolex, I mean, if they wanted to do something about this gray market thing, I mentioned this on the last show, they could end it in short order. They could end it in short order. All they have to do is send a directive out to all their ADs that you must sell to an end user. That if you sell to a flipper, we're going to do spot checking on watches that you're getting. We're going to check the serial number. We're going to check who you sold it to. We're going to do random calls, calling people and confirming, hey, how was your experience with so-and-so jewelers? Do you like your watch? And blah, 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 And if we catch you selling it to a flipper dipper, then your franchise is gone. We yank your franchise. And I bet you they got a list of people that want that franchise. And Rolex, if they wanted to, could just start selling direct and could get rid of all their ADs. That's where everything is headed anyway. A lot of these dealers are going to be like the buggy whips. They're going to be obsolete. So Rolex said the short supply isn't planned. It's just demand so high and they had to cut production. Yeah, I read that. And again, the demand is so high because people are buying more watches than they would typically buy. The only reason people are buying a dozen steel watches is because they think they're great investments. They're not buying a dozen steel watches because they want to wear a dozen steel watches, because in most cases they're not going to wear them because they don't want to get them scratched, because they're not going to get the full value when they resell it if it gets scratched. So they're buying them and keeping them as a resale item, right? And as an investment. And so the only reason people are doing that is because of the gray market and because of the way everything is happening. If they shut down the gray market, then you wouldn't have people hoarding the watches, and there would be plenty of supply. There would be plenty of watches for the people that need watches. It's the fact that they're being hoarded. That's why there's not enough supply. Okay, Craig, will there ever be a day when a standard steel sub is worth more than a BTC? I don't think it'll happen again. We talked about it here on the channel. There were a couple of times when I had a show, should you buy a sub or one BTC? I think when BTC was like $9,000 or something, we did a show. Which should you buy? And a lot of people said they'd buy the sub. They did not choose wisely. Somebody that chose the sub at that point in time, they just paid $43,000 for a sub, because that's what Bitcoin's worth as we speak, something like that. So choose wisely, my friends. I heard people are handling the sales. I hear people are handing the salespeople thousands under the table to get hard pieces. Oh, so they're bribing ADs also. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, money, money causes things like that. Are you saying little treasury will be obsolete? Never. I'll tell you, I mean, a lot of brands are heading towards direct sales, right? Direct sales. A lot of brands are headed that way. Now, will it happen overnight? No. And somebody like Steve that's really good at what he does and is really good at curating items. See, he's not a Rolex AD anyway, right? And so a lot of the brands that he sells probably wouldn't have the horsepower or the ability to go direct like Rolex would be able to. Rolex could go direct easily. Rolex could pull an Apple if they wanted to. They could have their own Rolex stores and most sales online. Apple still makes most of their sales online, right? They could do most of their sales online and have some boutique stores in like the major cities, cut way back on the number of stores, and they could all be Rolex owned and solely Rolex, right? They could easily go that route because they've got a big enough brand to do it. I think we're at the top of the watch market prices. Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. In terms of Bitcoin value, okay. In terms of fiat, maybe not, because at the rate they're printing fiat, the price to buy a watch in fiat might continue to go up. But if you price it in Bitcoin, it's going to go down over time, right? It's always going to lose to Bitcoin as far as the pricing goes, in my opinion, over time. You have a Rainbow Daytona at 500K. That's ridiculous. Steel Pepsi 25K. Yeah, I think it is ridiculous, especially people that are buying several of these watches and thinking that that's like their nest egg, right? They're going to retire on all this stuff. When the music stops, there's only going to be so many chairs. This is musical watches. ADs take bribes. It's called forcing you to buy jewelry that is marked up by obscene amounts to get a steel sports model. Yes, correct. Chip Wong has all three rainbows. The rose gold one is the most desirable. I wonder if Chip Wong even exists. I wonder if he even exists. What happened to Brianna? She was going to come in. Was she not able to get in here? Let's see. Who's paying 40K for a steel Daytona or 18K for a steel Oyster Perpetual? So overhyped. Yeah, and you watch like these videos. I watched some of the videos of these those timepiece gentlemen videos, right? And those people going in, these hipsters, wearing like sweatpants and stuff and buying all these watches and stuff. And a lot of them are dealers selling to each other. The one dealer sells it to this guy, and he sells it to some other dealers, and then eventually it ends up at an end user, some NBA basketball player or something, right? And this also illustrates the income gap, how the income, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. So you got a certain percentage of people out there that just have silly money that, they can spend $40K for Daytona and it's like nothing, right? And of course that's why all these people end up broke, like these NBA players and stuff. They end up broke after their career's over because they spent more than they made. Even though they made a ton of money, they still spent more than it. Craig, did you know some guys offer up their wives to get hot watches? Well, hey, I wouldn't be surprised. When there's a fervor, there's a fervor. Did you see Trump rally in Georgia? No, I didn't. When was it? Do tell. Craig, would you buy a 100K watch from a guy in sweatpants and a backpack? Probably not. I love it. NBA players don't like steel sports. Well, most don't. They prefer precious metal, usually rose gold. Well, no, the guy was selling the Miami guy. What's his name? The hipster watch guy, Watch Eric. He was selling that ceramic. Was it a ceramic Patek for 300 grand? They were selling to some NBA guy, the black ceramic thing. Talk about an ugly watch. And that guy paid $300,000 for the thing, and he had to run around town to get some extra links so that it would fit him. And my God, 300 grand. He could have bought a freaking 002 and a Date 840 and a few Bitcoin, right? Several Bitcoin. What in the hell? And if he did that, the Bitcoin at the end of his career, which will probably be over in about 5 years, would be worth a ton of money, and he'd be set financially. As it is now, he's buying a $300,000 watch that after 5 years, everybody's going to laugh. What are you kidding me? You paid $300,000 for that ugly watch? And he's going to have nothing, right? So there you go. That's how the whole thing washes out. Buy Bitcoin now, and when recession hits, buy Rolex for half the price. Good move. Maybe even 10% of the price on some of these watches. Steve from the Little Treasury dresses like he sells $1 million watches. He dresses well. He's a professional. He has a beautiful place there. They do a lot of business, and he gives great service. So I'm happy. I bought my 002 from him. I bought my faux pay from him. I didn't buy the signet ring from him. I had this made bespoke by a fine gentleman in Washington State. I dealt direct with the maker, the maker breaker, and I'm happy I did that. He could have bought a condo. Not much of a condo in Miami. Yeah, he could have maybe 10 years ago, because they've gone sky high too. Craig, have you ever considered selling every single possession of value you own, including wardrobe, to go all in on BTC? I would if I was a younger man. If I was 20 years old, or even 25 or even 30 years old, and I didn't have much BTC, I would be in panic mode right now. I'd be doing whatever I could to get at least several BTC, 3, 4, maybe 5 BTC minimum, at least that amount. And ideally 21. Ideally, you want to have 21 Bitcoin. That's what Adam Meister always said for years, and I agree with him. I think that should be the minimum number of BTC you should have. So to answer your question, if I didn't already have a significant amount of BTC, I would be in panic mode, and I'd be doing whatever I could to get it, because I think this is the last opportunity that people are going to have to get one whole BTC. I think once we have the next big run up, one BTC is going to be out of reach for most people. It's out of reach for a lot of people right now, $43,000, but it's going to be really out of reach. Triforce Rich is in the house. Craig, if someone offered you their smoking wife for a night in exchange for a higher place on Fredder.com. Would you take the offer? Um, we can't do that. We are hard fast on the spots for each business. We're first come, first grab. And so, no, I wouldn't bump them up. I would not do that to one of my sponsors, even if she was smoking hot. I just couldn't do that to one of my sponsors. It'd be unfortunate, but I'd have to say no. Let's see here. Craig, should Bree date a Rolex AD manager to secure you a Pepsi? I'm not that enamored with getting a Pepsi, to tell you the truth. I don't think I would wear it. So again, I don't buy watches that I don't wear. So I don't think I would get it. I'm what I would like to do, tell you the truth, is I would like to sell the 231 and just wear the 002 all the time. That would be a cool move, I think. That would be a hip move for me. It's holding at 40K. That's a great sign. Sunrise Beaches. Well, considering, Craig, have you considered having a refrigerator behind you for advertising? Hey, I got to make that move. Considering all the attacks that the Chinese and the media have made on Bitcoin here recently, it's amazing to me that it hasn't pulled back to like $20,000 or something. I mean, they have thrown everything but the kitchen sink at Bitcoin, trying to kill it. And their cohorts in the media have been right along with them, writing all kinds of ridiculous articles and hit job, attack job articles. I've lost track of how many times Bitcoin has been pronounced dead by major media organizations. I think it's 450 times now. But they keep trying. You got to give them credit for keeping up the effort. How about if the wife wanted you anyway and whispered to you while her husband was in the bathroom, give me a call, and hand you her phone number on a piece of paper? That can be risky business. I mean, messing around with somebody's wife, even if she's smoking hot, that can be risky business. I'm risk adverse. I mean, you have to take every situation like that as it comes. I mean, sometimes you do things that, you think with your little head. You do things that maybe your big head wouldn't have thought was such a good idea. So who knows? Hard to speculate. If you bought a Pepsi at cost, would you sell it now for 25K and buy a gold watch? Yeah. Yeah, I'd buy another 002. If I didn't already have one, I'd buy an 002. It's exactly what I would do. My gosh, there's no comparison. If you think there's a comparison between a Pepsi and this, I can't. If somebody thinks that, I can't help them. Let's bring the lovely Lady Bree in and see how her system works. Hello.
This is so weird.
And so, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing 1 2. I can hear you.
I hear you.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You're a little bit cutting up. I think maybe your internet connection maybe isn't the greatest. Are you using AT&T?
No, I'm using LTE. Is that the same thing? Oh wait, no, that's the same thing. Yeah, I'm using LTE. I mean AT&T.
And what is your signal strength?
It's just one bar.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. It's not strong enough. Yeah, it's not strong enough. Can you try Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Can you try Wi-Fi?
I don't know. Is that better?
Not really. Are you sure you're connected to your Wi-Fi?
Yes. Now it's $2.
On Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's still pretty marginal. All right. Well, at least we got you to come in and say hi. Can you tell them how they can find your new video that was released today?
I have my Bitcoin ring.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I'll show them some pictures of that also.
So what'd you ask?
Can you tell them where they can find your video that you released today?
Oh, the Bitcoin one. So the top 10 reasons why you shouldn't sell your Bitcoin. That's on my Twitter account, Brief It Dance.
And your YouTube, right?
YouTube too. They're both in
Yeah.
1080p.
Yeah.
Because we have
All
to
right,
do,
I'm
like,
going to
so
let
much
you go,
use.
Bree, because you're breaking up. So we're going to let you go, and I'm going to show some pictures of your ring. Okay.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. So thanks for coming in. Okay, that was the lovely lady Bree, and she's got some connection issues, but at least we got her in here. Let's see. Have you seen the movie Risky Business, Craig? Oh, wait, I passed up this one. I would buy the 231, but it's very curvaceous. I like sharp angled GS models. I'm the opposite. Triforce Rich is in the house. Have you seen the movie Risky Business? Sometimes you just have to say, yeah, I've seen the movie. I agree with what you're saying. Craig, will there come a time when you own zero fiat currency? I think so. I think so. I think the dollar is going to fall apart in the next 10 years. I think it's going to be a minor currency. I think it's going to go from the world reserve currency to a minor currency in like the next 10 years. I think that's going to happen. Let's pull up some of Bree's watch, let's pull up time check. Let me pull up here and find the photos of Bree's let's see here. Bitcoin ring, 48 items. Okay, I think this has all of them. Give me a second here. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to show the rings. We're going to show all of them. This is the first one I got was the sterling silver ring, and I got one that was sized to fit my ring finger. And it's okay. It's an okay ring. It's only about 70, 80 bucks. Sterling silver. Not nearly as comfortable as the one I had made, the gold one. Not nearly as comfortable. And wider at the bottom there. And hollow inside so that it doesn't sit on your finger quite as comfortable. It's not terrible, don't get me wrong. You could get used to it, but you can't compare the comfort of this particular ring you're seeing now to the gold one that you'll see after this. So let's keep moving along here until we get to the gold ones. I like that photo with the GS in the background. So yeah. It goes nice with the titanium. The sterling silver goes nice. Now this is the one that we had made for Bree. This was made in Turkey for Bree. And it is nice as well. It is very comfortable on the finger. It's solid on the inside. It's not hollow. It also is a very good design. As a matter of fact, this was the inspiration of the design for my ring. And this one's also 18 karat yellow gold. Okay. And there was the original design for my ring. And then when he tried to make it, it just didn't come out right with all the busy stuff in the background, the circuitry stuff. So he had to go with a different design. Oh, and there's a pendant that the guy sent as a gift to Brianna. And there's Bree's ring on hand. And there's the design. That's what he came up with for my ring. And there it was, still in the process of him finishing it up. And then there's a sterling silver one again. And then here's the photos I took when I received the ring. And the photos don't do it justice. It really looks gorgeous in real life. Um, just looks classy. And so, yeah, I'm really pleased. Sometimes you do a design and you just wonder, is it really going to work? And I have to say, and now, Susie, we have the men's and the ladies. So those are all available. If people want to order one, the men's ring is bespoke and each one is numbered. Ladies' ring is also bespoke. They are not numbered. And the pricing is on the page I have, the Bitcoin page. So there's a link in the description to that page if anybody wants to get one. If anybody wants to get their own Bitcoin ring. So I think we're going to wrap it up. We've been going for about a half an hour. Half an hour. We've been going for an hour because we started a half an hour early. So the moral of the story is China took their best shot at Bitcoin, and they blew it. If you go for the king, if you're going to go for the king, you better not miss, right? And they missed. They went for the king, and they missed. And so stay tuned. Interesting times are ahead. Will they try again to kill Bitcoin? Yes, they will. There will be many attempts at the king. But apparently, and people have been saying this for years, and apparently it's true. Apparently, it is very difficult to attack Bitcoin. And when you do, you make it stronger. Here comes Briefit Dance back into the show.
This is so
Hello.
weird. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you look good now. It's doing better.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can't. I can't hear you now. Oh God.
I can hear you. So I can hear you.
Your voice sounds like, I don't know, like a dinosaur.
Well, I can hear you. So maybe
You know how
you
like
need.
that chipmunk voice, like that's how
Okay.
you sound.
So maybe you
It's
need to talk.
weird. It's weird.
Maybe you need
It's
to
weird.
talk. Can you talk?
So yeah, I'm gonna have to go again. It's just not
Okay.
working out.
Okay. But at least it's not jerky.
Wait, let me
At,
see if I can like hear you here.
at least it's not jerky though, you know? No, you can't hear me there because there's going to be a delay. You can't hear me there because there's going to be a delay. Where you can't do that, there's going to be a delay. That's not going to work because there's going to be a delay.
Am
You
I
have to hear
better?
me. There's going to be a
Oh
delay. You
no.
have to hear me through StreamYard because you can't
Yeah, I've
listen to the
got
broadcast.
issues. I need to figure this thing out later. All right, I'm
Okay.
gonna have to go.
Okay. Live TV, folks. That's how live TV works. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, they took their best shot, and they took a shot at the king, and they missed. They failed, and it was not a small failure; it was a major failure. They let's see if we can pull up. Well, oh, let me just pull it up on my phone here real quick. Let's see what the price of Bitcoin is right now. I mean, it was a major. They should feel humiliated. I mean, they got punked out by Bitcoin. They got punked by Bitcoin. They threw everything they had at Bitcoin, including the kitchen sink. And the best they could do right now, it's sitting at $43,000. Okay. That is still a ton of money for one Bitcoin. It's up 300% in a year, folks. 300%. They have tried to kill it. They aggressively tried to kill it a month or so ago when they killed the mining. They shut down the Bitcoin mining in China, which was, I think maybe half of the mining was in China. They shut it down. That knocked the price down to around $30,000, folks, $30,000. And then it slowly recovered. Now it's back over 40,000 again. I just said 43,000. And now they took another huge shot at it by banning Bitcoin entirely in China. And they knocked it down a couple grand. That's about it. I think they maybe knocked it down, $3 or $4 grand. And now it's recovered most of that. So they knocked it down to about 40,000. And now it's back up to 43. And so they really are looking impudent, right? They're looking like they can't get the job done. This is China. They're supposed to be a pretty powerful operation. Carlos is in the house. Hey, Craig and all. I just saw a Spaniard becoming IndyCar champion. Whoa. Interesting. Cool. A descendant of yours? A relative of yours? Maybe a long lost son? I heard that you've sowed your wild oats a lot of places. So do tell. All right. On that note, I think we're going to have to let everybody go. We've been going for an hour. And again, just to wrap up, I could not be more impressed with the Bitcoin signet ring design that I designed. And I worked with the maker. And we worked it all out. We worked out all the details, and I got exactly what I wanted in the form of a comfortable ring that's going to be durable, that can be worn all the time. It is thick enough. The reason I say that is if I take this off, it's thick enough here. Let me show. It's thick enough at the bottom that it's got enough gold there that even with a lot of wear, you're not going to wear through that, right? You're not going to wear through it, even with a lifetime worth of wear, right? You're not going to wear through the bottom part. This is the thinnest part of the ring, right? Yet it's thick enough, yet it's thin enough that when I bend my finger like this, it doesn't bind. It doesn't bind there, and it doesn't bind on the top either. So I really struck a nice balance between being big enough to look nice and to make a little bit of a statement, right? Not be overbearing. I hate huge rings. I hate seeing people wearing like just huge rings, super gaudy, right? This is small enough to be a little bit understated, yet it has enough presence to make the statement. And it's just super comfortable on wrist. So this is comfortable, the signet ring. The 002 is comfortable. The faux pas bracelet is comfortable. And my Comfort Fit wedding ring is comfortable. So I got comfort. That's important. We like comfort. So, Brief It Dance coming in the house. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2.
I can hear you.
Testing 1, 2.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, and you look like you have a better connection. What did you do to get your connection better?
I connected it to Wi-Fi. It wasn't actually connected to Wi-Fi at first because this is a new network and the iPad doesn't know it.
Okay.
So I just connected it, and then I was using my AirPods, and for some reason the AirPods made you sound like a monster.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not good.
Yeah, so I couldn't really like hear you well.
Okay, so is this the mini?
Yeah.
Wow. It looks good. The picture looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like the
And do
finish.
you have it propped up higher so that the camera's higher, or is it still down low?
No, it's just I'm using like a desk, and I'm not
It's
using
just
the portfolio. I'm using like some basket behind
okay.
to like make it stand.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. if you remember, next time you're here, I might have a small tripod
Okay.
that you can put it on, that you could put on the desk and get it up off the desk and then use that mount. You know what I mean? And then you could adjust it and get the angle exactly the way you want it and all that.
Okay.
Like a mini tripod type thing.
Okay.
But it looks good. I think that I can see your B on your Bitcoin thing. Your Bitcoin
Necklace.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can see the B really clearly. So it's a very clear picture.
And my ring. I have a pay too.
Yeah, I can even see the if you point the ring right at the camera,
Wait, let's
flat
see.
to the camera. Yeah. Put your hand behind it. Oh, there. Yeah, see, we can really see it. We can really see the detail. That camera is good.
Yeah.
That do you think it works better than using the laptop?
Yeah. I mean, with this
I
connection,
think I
with
think it
this
looks
speed,
clearer. I think it looks clearer.
I think so too. Let me use my sunglasses. This is what I wore in the video, the top 10 reasons.
Cool. Cool. So can you give us one of the um
One of
oh,
the reasons?
I have another theory, Bree,
Okay.
about dirty laundry.
Okay.
First, let me read this comment from Carlos. I've been wearing my wedding band always for 24 years and still looks good, and I cannot see anywhere. When we got then were polished and now they're brushed. Yeah, that's what happens. They get to a patina to them where the whole thing looks softer, but I think that looks classy. I think it looks better that way. And is it, Carlos, tell us, are they 18 karat yellow gold? Tell us what they are. Give us more detail, please. I'm interested. Okay, so I have another theory I want to run by you.
Okay.
I think it's possible that he was in that reserve, that nature reserve or whatever, 20,000 acres, whatever the heck it is, and that he was hiking in there trying to find a place to camp, trying to find a campsite,
Mhm.
and a water moccasin bit him on the leg, and that slowed him down. It didn't stop him. He was still able to walk. It was bleeding a little bit. He kind of wrapped a rag around it, and a little bit of blood got on the rag. And then he was walking and trying to find a place to sit down to try to work, to try to help it or whatever, and a
Yeah.
wild boar got the scent of the blood. And the wild boar came and bit his leg and just tore up his leg a little bit. But
Okay.
then he was able to use a knife or something or a log or something. He hit the wild boar and the wild boar, ran away and gave up. It wasn't a full grown wild boar. It was only about 100-pounder, right? It wasn't a 200-pounder. And so it ran off. And so then his legs all messed up and bleeding pretty bad at this point.
Yeah.
And that's when the 12-foot long alligator smelled the blood.
Shoot.
And he came along and just swallowed him whole. And now he's in the gut, he's in the belly of the 12-foot alligater
And
being
now they
digested.
can't really find him now. They can't.
Now he's being digested inside the alligator,
Yeah.
12-footer. And it could take 3 months for him to be completely digested. Everything.
And they can't really, the FBI can't really know which alligator.
No, because there's a lot of alligators. So they I think it's
They
going to
have
be
no luck. They have
I
no
think
luck.
it's going to be real tricky now finding dirty laundry. I think that could be tricky. Okay, Carlos says not sure the carat. I think it's rose gold. Okay. So it's rose gold. It should be stamped on the inside, Carlos, either 14 or 18 karat gold. But my wedding ring is the same way. It looks like the whole thing looks like a soft satin. It looks almost like a satin. Let me show you. It's almost like a satin color. It shines some, but it's like a soft shine, if that makes any sense. And the whole thing, if you look close at it, the whole thing has like micro scratches, very fine scratches all over the whole surface. And what that does is that knocks down the shine, right?
It's
But it,
probably a lot of years old. Like
yeah,
maybe
this
like
one is like 20 years old, 30 years old. But I haven't worn it all the time, but it's 20, 30 years old. Maybe, well, actually, yeah, about 30 years old.
still
Um,
looks like it has like that old gold look.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of what happens. That's that patina that the gold gets. And the gold, there's something hard to describe about it, how it looks as compared to steel. When steel gets like that same patina on it, it just looks like old steel.
Yeah,
There's nothing special about it, right?
yeah.
When gold gets that kind of a patina to it, it just has a really special look to it. Like your faux pay is not as shiny as my faux pay because I haven't worn mine as much as you, right? And so mine still has that new shiny bit to it, right? Yours is more satiny, more, it just looks like it's eat up with class. It's
It's
hard
not
to
as shiny
describe.
anymore. It was pretty shiny when I got it, but
Yeah, it's
I
hard to
wear it all the time.
describe.
So
It still looks really good. I mean, it
yeah,
just looks eat up with class now. It looks like something that, like old money. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, and that you get with gold, with either 14 karat or 18 karat gold, in my opinion, you get that same effect. The mark inside of the ring are 750. Yes, that would be 18 karat gold. Yeah. So he says the mark inside is 750. What they do, what that means, Bree, is 750, like he says there, 750 out of 1,000. That is 18 karat gold. See, pure gold, I think, is 24 karat, isn't it? I think pure gold is 24 karat.
Yes.
So 750 would be 18 out of 24, right? Is that right? 18
Um,
of 24. Would that be 750? I
18
think
out of
that's how it
24.
works. I think that's the percentage, right?
Let me do some
Yeah, and
math.
Carlos says 24K is pure gold. And so, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
how it works. Yeah, so 0.750 would be 18 karat. Yeah, so and when I had this bespoke ring made, I talked to him about doing it also in 10 karat. I got prices for 14 karat and 18 karat. And I talked to him about 10 karat, and he said that he would not recommend having it made in 10 karat. He can do it, but it's not that much cheaper than the 14 karat. And he said that 10 karat is a little bit risky as far as potential corrosion. Because,
Mhm.
the way they do it, Bree, is they take the gold and they put other alloys in the gold to make the mixture, right? Because it's not pure gold. If it's 18 karat, it's 750 out of 1,000, right? So it's 3/4 basically gold, right? So 25% of it is some other metals, right? And so those other metals can potentially corrode. So 18
Gotcha.
karat is very stable. 18 karat is very unlikely to corrode. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible to corrode, but it's very unlikely to corrode. 14 karat is also unlikely to corrode, but more likely to corrode than 18 karat, right?
Like
But
forever or like 100 years?
for a long time, yeah, maybe thousands of years. I mean, if you let it set in salt water, maybe it's going to corrode at some point, right? 18 karat gold. 24 karat won't. 24 karat can sit in salt water and it's fine, right? It ain't going to corrode
Wow.
no matter what.
Wow.
But 18 karat is also very unlikely to corrode, okay, under any kind of normal circumstances. 14 karat, also unlikely to corrode, but more chance of corrosion than with 18, right? So 18 is really the way to go. And Steve said he doesn't like to sell anything that's less than 18 karat gold. He doesn't like to sell rings or anything in 14 karat gold. He pretty much deals solely in 18 karat gold. And you know, people that say that the 18
Well,
karat, people that say that 18 karat is soft, I don't know what 18 karat they're talking about, because mine's plenty strong enough. This ring here, okay, if I push on it as hard as I can push, and I'm pretty damn strong, okay, not to brag, but you know, my hands are incredibly strong.
yeah.
If I push on this as hard as I can't bend this ring. Okay. It's pretty damn strong. That's not a thin ring, but it's pretty damn strong. So 18 karat is not as soft as people think. Boozer says
Maybe like
is,
smooth.
say again, Bree?
Maybe they're talking about the smoothness.
I'm not sure what they're talking about. Okay, so here we go. Boozer's in the house.
Ooh.
You're starting to break up a little bit, Bree. Now, I guess your internet connection is slowing down again. But
Oh,
Boozer says, is gold the best metal for a dive watch? I would think so, yes. I would think 18 karat yellow gold is probably the best way to go. Well, I have to correct that. I think titanium is probably the best bet for a dive watch. Because titanium is very rugged stuff, and titanium is also extremely corrosion resistant. Extremely corrosion resistant. Grade 5 titanium is extremely corrosion resistant. So it would hold up very well in saltwater diving situations. So that 231 would probably be your best choice for a dive watch overall. That's probably the way I would go. Number 2 choice would probably be something in 18 karat yellow gold. So Boozer's in the house. Bree, what's the most incredible feat of strength you've seen Craig do?
I think the push-ups. That's pretty strong. That takes a lot of strength.
What about carrying the tripods? I think you froze.
Oh yes, carrying.
I think we lost
Oh
her.
shoot,
I
you're
think we
breaking up.
lost Bree.
I'm breaking up probably. I'm
Yeah, you're
probably
break.
breaking up, but yeah, the tripod. That's I can't even hold it by my own. So yeah,
Whoops. There we lost Bree. You're going to have to come to the event, Boozer. You're going to have to come to the event at Steve's at Little Treasury. And then we can demonstrate. We can demonstrate feats of incredible strength at the event. I'll take one of Steve's glasses and just crush it into powder. Crush it into sand. I'll turn it back into the sand from which it came. All right. On that note, I think we're going to let everybody go. We're going to call it a success. We're going to call this a successful broadcast. And we will be back. We will be back. As Arnold said, I'll be back. Oh, don't forget, get your men's or ladies' Bitcoin ring, Bitcoin signet ring. Link is in the description. Arm wrestle at Steve's. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll wrestle for 0.1 Bitcoin. 0.1 Bitcoin. Now I'm left-handed, so that's going to be a problem for a lot of you guys that are right-handers. You're going to be in a deep, deep trouble on that. All right, folks, carry on. I say carry on. Oh, Crappy wants me to check a ball watch at Steve's. We need to get him a good deal if he does. Oh yeah, Steve will help out Crappy. Steve will help him out. All right, folks. Thanks again for watching.